What's going on, everybody? LK here, and today some more Persona 4 Ultimax. So one of the questions I got the most about this game is shadows. So maybe you played this game, maybe you didn't, and this game is being released on modern consoles and Steam in March 2022. So they're releasing the final version, and shadows don't have a good reputation, but also when people look for notes on console Ultimax, they always hear things like shadows aren't good, shadows are irrelevant. So a lot of people are kind of confused on who the shadows are, what do they do, and what happened to them to make them so good. So I'm just going to try to quickly cover these things in this video. But before that, I'd like to say thank you to Wealthfront for sponsoring this video. Good investing shouldn't feel like it's a roller coaster. There's so much data showing that investing in a diversified portfolio of low-cost index funds is the best way to put your savings to work. That might sound like gibberish to some of you guys, but it shouldn't be. If it is, Wealthfront will help you make it easier, more affordable, and more accessible no matter what your knowledge of finance is. The setup is easy and the service is affordable. You only need a couple of minutes and around $500 to open an investment account, and Wealthfront takes care of the rest. While their software designed by PhDs does all the work for you. Once you open and fund your account, Wealthfront's software will manage it and employ strategies like rebalancing to keep you at your desired risk threshold, and look for opportunities to lower your tax bill through a service called tax loss harvesting. The most popular one is probably one your parents told you about. It's something called an IRA and a retirement account. This one's pretty important. They got your back on that one. Wealthfront will also create a portfolio based on your individual risk tolerance. This is also good for anyone who wants the benefit of automated investing, but also wants a little bit more freedom to play with the bells and whistles and tweak things the way you want them to. Build a portfolio based on those. This is the version just before console came out, so essentially 1.1. We have Lord Denpa here with the Shadow Naoto. So right away, you should be able to tell that the shadow character on the left has a slightly different UI from the standard character Mitsuru on the right. The main thing is that shadow characters have a different goal. So they don't have the standard burst or awakening. Instead, they have a mode called Shadow Frenzy. Denpa is kind of close to getting it here, and he's got it. So if 100 meter, he can activate this mode. It's called Shadow Frenzy. Special moves are cancelable into special moves. Everything is jump cancelable. Supers are canceled into supers as well. So it's very, very powerful on some custom combo energy. The trade-off is they can't burst. They don't get the awakening buff. So no defense buff at around 30%. No secret super after... Secret super is the wrong word. Desperation super. They still have it in Frenzy, but they just don't have access to it normally, if I recall. They won't get the meter buff of 150 meter. They don't get meter for free, obviously, because that'd be pretty bad. Because they would get this a lot faster and have more resources to work with in that time. That being said, so if you go back again and look at old tier lists, you'll see a lot of old tier lists mostly say that all the shadow characters are irrelevant besides Shadow Naoto, Shadow Mitsuru, Shadow Narukami, Shadow Yosuke, and a couple people will talk about Shadow Teddy. In the P4U2, when they buff all the shadows, this is a lot different. Now, Naoto is a real standout because the others like Mitsuru, Narukami, and Yosuke, the reason why they're viable in this version is just because it's those characters. So Mitsuru, her shadow combos just do a lot of damage. Narukami is top tier, so just being Narukami is a good thing. Same with Yosuke. Shadow Naoto gets access to Naoto's unique plan. So you might recall a video I made probably around like November about Naoto in Persona 4 Arena 1 with the same move proration glitch, one of the sillier glitches that people actually got to use in Arxis games in tournament. So playing Shadow Naoto kind of gives you something similar, but with the various buffs they gave to her moves in Ultimax, where all the characters are more powerful than they are before. Remember the last time I talked about Ultimax, basically all the characters are around level 90 in the RPG. So in cases like this, where Shadow Naoto has a big lead, next round's kind of going to be a meme because the shadow meter carries over, unlike standard characters. Essentially, if Denpa gets any hit, since he won the first round the fair way by not using the shadow burst, this game is basically over. It's going to be shotgun into 50-50, and then you're dead. That's it. Okay, GG. Shake my hand. That's just like that. And then you run off the screen. Yeah, I used to do this too when I played Shadow Naoto. You just bounce off the screen. So out of all the characters, Shadow Naruto actually has a plan that's benefited by the character's tools and is not represented by, oh, I'm picking a top tier, so that's why the Shadow version is even playable. So we move to Persona 4 Ultimax 2.0. So they made some changes to the Shadow characters, and this is again why you keep hearing memes about the Shadow characters being really strong, the Shadow characters ruining the game, touch of death, all that stuff. So as you recall before in our true 480p glasses, you couldn't really see a burst of any type now, but now you see that shadow burst, that nice purple burst icon there. So they changed the shadow system slightly in this version. So one, the obvious one should be now they can burst. So you don't have to play as perfectly as you used to. 2, the meter doesn't carry over in between rounds anymore, and this is because how much more accessible Shadow Fury is now. Shadow Frenzy, sorry. So the Shadow Frenzy itself costs the burst, and you can do it basically whenever, and how long it lasts is dependent on how much meter you now have. So you don't have to wait for 100 meter anymore to do it. As you saw there, our buddy, interestingly named STD Chie, activated it at around like 97-ish meter for the cash out, and he still had a decent amount of time left before he finished the rest of the combo. The last thing is that the opponent cannot burst during Shadow Frenzy. So in the 1.1 version, you could, and this is probably like one of the bigger problems with it, because some people would be looping special moves, some people are looping super. So remember, Naruto, she's doing shotgun, you're in silence, so you can't do anything because you can't burst when you're silenced. Where another character, if they're looping a special move, you can just burst that, and all that effort you put into getting that meter is basically wasted here. So honestly, this is the main thing. Like, the ability for Shadow characters to turn around rounds is just really explosive, because they could do this whenever they want. And characters that have things to stack up, like Shadow Chie, and then of course there's Mitsuru, who's just Mitsuru still, Naruto is just Naruto still. They get to really sway the momentum drastically. It's one of those things that people think about where it's like, oh, you're beating them, but they're getting meter during this. Like, instant blocking in this game is much easier compared to Guilty Gear Strive. Like, most Arxis games, it's easy to instant block, so they're getting a lot of meter really fast. So even if you have a lead, it doesn't really mean that much until you kill them. For the most part, they still won't burst out of your stuff. It just means that they have the ability to turn like a jab or something extreme into just a ton of damage that you can't burst. But alright, hopefully that makes sense. That's just a quick summary on the Shadow characters. I still have some more research to do on 2.5 myself. Again, the version that I played, the version that was played at EVO, was the 1.1 version. I mean, I'm going to post some stuff about that as well, just so you get an idea of like characters and what they do and things like that. And I'm looking forward to this game coming out. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.